So guys, welcome to this video. So the transfer deadline, it's over guys. So we're gonna go ahead and look at everything that came to Mexico, like every team, what they decided to buy, and you guys get to see what your teams actually bought. So we're gonna start with America, and the first one they actually signed was Guido Rodriguez. So Guido Rodriguez to America. Also they signed Carlos Vargas, a youngster from Cholos. Carlos Orrantia also, and then guys they also signed Pedro Arce. He was playing in Europe, and also they signed the Colombian Mateus Uribe. So that is America. And then we had Atlas signed Candido Ramirez. That was their first signing, and they also signed a player that was playing in Tijuana, Milton Caraglio. And then also guys they signed a player from Tigres, Ubaldo Luna, so he's playing in Atlas, and also signed Sergeant Patrick Najon, Cameroon player, and they signed the English player Ravel Morrison guys. And then Chivas did not sign anyone guys, so that's that on Chivas, so they didn't sign anyone. And then Cruz Azul guys, they signed the youngster from Toluca, Jordan Silva. They also signed Felipe Mora, Chilean, the Spanish Edgar Mendez. So that was another sign that they did there guys, so I think pretty good signing. And then they also signed Alejandro Forlin, pretty nice signing also for Cruz Azul. And they re-signed Geraldo Flores, so that was the signings for Cruz Azul. Then Leon had a couple of signings guys, so we're gonna start with no other than Mauro Lainez, the brother of the America Lainez. And they also signed Miguel Herrera, the player guys, belong to Pachuca. They signed Felipe Rodriguez, former Morelia keeper, Alvaro Ramos, and they also signed Maximiliano Cerato. And then guys, another player they signed was Andres Mosquera, and also they signed Ivan Piris, former Monterrey player. And talking about Monterrey guys, our next team is Monterrey. So they started with the signing of Jorge Benitez from Cruz Azul, and then guys they did sign Aviles Hurtado from Cholos de Tijuana, and then also signed a goalkeeper, Juan Pablo Carrizo, Argentinian, and they also signed Stefan Medina. And finally guys they signed a left back, Lionel Vicchioni, from Argentina. And then we're gonna go to Morelia. Morelia only had one signing, and that was Angel Sepulveda. I hope I said it right. Angel Sepulveda only signing for Morelia. Then we had Pachuca. Pachuca had some cool signings, starting with Edson Puig, the Chilean player. They also signed Angelo Zagal, so another Chilean player. And they also signed Honda. So Honda is actually a new signing also for Pachuca. They signed Sebastian Palacios, coming from Talleres. And then they also signed Robert Herrera, former Puebla player, and Andy Reyes from Costa Rica. So very nice signing there. And then Puebla had a big signings guys, so we're gonna start with the first signing of Puebla. That was Moises Munoz, former America goalkeeper. And they also signed Jesus Daniel Guerrero, former America. Also Enrique Pimentel, former America player. They also signed Carlos Salom, so also a very good player coming to Puebla. And Franco Arizala also signed by Puebla. Another player they signed was Alonso Zamora, so he is playing in Puebla. Brian Angulo, another player that's actually playing in Puebla. Hugo Rodriguez also playing in Puebla. And then we have Luis Venegas also playing in Puebla. And we have Felix Micolta also playing in Puebla, former Chiapas. And then we have Lionel Aguirre joining Puebla also, and Cristian Marugo. And finally, guys, we have the finally signing of Puebla. It was John Steven Madrugon, so he has just joined. And then we have the Puma signings, guys. We're gonna start with Jefren Guerron returning to Liga MX to play in Pumas. And then, guys, they also signed Mauro Formica. Also, another player they got back was David Cabrera, and they also got on a loan, I believe, Nestor Calderon. I don't know how Chivas did not buy him. And then, guys, they also signed Marcelo Diaz, the Chilean. And finally, guys, they signed Rodrigo Gonzalez. So that was the signing for Pumas. Querétaro did a couple of signings, but I think pretty good signings. Javier Güemes for the center defensive spot there that they signed. Alexis Perez, a very fast center back. And also they signed another center defensive mid, which was Irving Trejo. So I think very good signing for Querétaro. And finally they signed Stum, this youngster. Santos only did 2 signings, guys, so we're gonna start with those 2 signings. It was Brian Lozano, which I believe was a loan from America, and another loan was Javier Cortez from Pumas. And then we have the Tigres signings, guys. So we're gonna start with the first one, which is Ener Valencia joining Tigres. And then I'm just gonna call this guy Colo. Colo just signed for Tigres. And then also Larry Vasquez signed for Tigres, guys. And also the center defensive mid Rafael Carioca. And finally, guys, Tigres did sign a keeper, Lalo Fernandez from the MLS. And that's Tigres signings, guys. Let's go into Toluca. Toluca did a couple of signings, and we're going to start with Jesus Garcia, this youngster from Cruz Azul joining, and also Santiago Garcia joining Toluca. They also signed Alexis Canelo, former Puebla player. They also signed Maximiliano Perg, so a very good signing there for Toluca. And Matheus Goncalves, also very good player. And then Cholos de Tijuana did a couple of signings, and the first one was actually Mauricio Cuero, a very good signing in my opinion. And then Damian Musto, another good center defensive mid, guys. And they also signed Matis Arrizgaray. I hope I said his name right. And then they signed Antonio Rodriguez, which was a loan, I believe. Alejandro Donatiti, I hope I said it right, also signed for Cholos de Tijuana. And then Enzo Kalaski also signed for Tijuana. Luis Angel Mendoza also signed for Tijuana. Gustavo Bou, which for me it's like the Guiñac of them, they play so similar. And also Juan Iturbe, who just signed. And just yesterday, Miguel Balaños has just signed for Cholos de Tijuana. Pretty good player. Then Veracruz signed a bunch of players, and we're gonna start here and tell you every player. They signed Giovanni Hernandez, loan from Chivas. Cristian Pellerano, I believe, was a loan from America. Richard Ruiz from Cruz Azul, I believe, is a loan also. And then Cristian Recordo Valdez joining Veracruz on a loan. And then we have Jose Palmera Rivas, also on a loan from Tigres to Veracruz. Manuel Vinegra also joining on a loan from Tigres. Osmar Mares joining Veracruz. Christian Mendez joining Veracruz, guys, as a new signing. So very good signing there from them. And then we have Guido Milan joining Veracruz also. And then we have the Venezuelan Jose Velasquez joining them also. Matias Santos joining Veracruz. Leonardo Diaz also joining Veracruz for this apertura. And finally Rodrigo Holgado also joining Veracruz for this apertura. Now we're gonna go into the Necaxa signings. So we're gonna start with the former Chivas player on a loan, Miguel Ponce, new signing for Necaxa. And then we have Daniel Alvarez joining Necaxa. Also, we have Dieter Villalpando joining Necaxa and alone, I believe. Roberto Alvarado joining Necaxa. And then we have Arce joining Necaxa. Also, we have Aaron Fernandez joining Necaxa and alone, a goalkeeper that belongs to Tigres. And then we have no other than Brian Colula. So he's joining Necaxa. Then we have Edgar Alfita joining Necaxa. We have Igor Liviesvosky joining Necaxa, and Victor Duvila also joining Necaxa. Then we have Carlos Gonzalez also joining Necaxa for this apertura. Then we have Martin Barragan joining Necaxa, Matias Fernandez, the Chilean, joining Necaxa, guys. And then we have Pablo Velasquez joining Necaxa and Facundo Pereira, guys. These are the signings for Necaxa. So let's go ahead into the final team, which is Lobos BUAP, guys, and they did a lot of signings. So let's start with Carlos Adrian Morales joining Lobos BUAP. Alfonso Tami joining Lobos BUAP also, guys. We have William Palacios joining Lobos BUAP, but the funny thing is that he got fired because he got on a fight with another player, so that's kind of bad. Another player that signed for Lobos BUAP was Juan Carlos Medina, and also Juan Garcia Sancho joining Lobos BUAP, and also from Cruz Azul, Francisco Maza Rodriguez joining Lobos BUAP. Then Carlos Triveño joining on loan to Lobos BUAP. Then we have Alfonso Emiliano Sanchez joining Lobos BUAP. And then on a loan we have Luis Advíncula joining Lobos BUAP, and then Julian Quiñones joining Lobos BUAP. And then we have another Quiñones, which is Luis Quiñones, joining Lobos BUAP. Then we have former Chivas player Sergio El Cherokee Perez joining Lobos BUAP, and finally Pedro Aquino joining Lobos BUAP, guys. So this is everything the Liga MX team signed for the deadline, guys. So all players, there's no more transfers, they're over. So these are what your teams actually signed, guys. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.